some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Good evening, I'm Dan Rather. Actually, I'm Joe Bachman, and this is Stupid O'Clock. And since I don't have ops, I'll have to have other people, as I say their names, pop in.
We don't have Dan Rather, but we'd rather have Dan.
Yeah. Well, let's just put everybody in their place here.
Yeah, that's what you get for showing up late to the show.
Well, I kind of figured that's what you had done, because when I first popped in,
Wait a
it still
minute,
showed
Joe.
you three up on screen.
Wait a minute. Joe Dog, you have not been on the show for 5 weeks? I mean, what?
No, it's only been about a week and a half.
Okay. And so talk about showing up late. And,
Well, I sort of had a good excuse. So
I had a good excuse myself. So,
you hardly show up yourself here lately, kid.
I had a good excuse.
You were asleep.
Partially, yeah. Good enough. So anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Since I haven't seen y'all, since I haven't seen Joe all this year, or something like that.
That's a lie.
Chattacon don't count. That's real people. That's
Oh.
At least here, the only body odor I got to worry about is mine. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's see who we got. Carl with us, and we got Terry.
Aunt Donna's not feeling so good, so she probably won't be here tonight for either show. Josh Waldrop's here, and Joe Bachman is talking his head off. Carl's here. Yeah. Hello, boys. I'm back. Yeah.
I don't know, but I found a video that has given me life goals.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
That scares the unholy shit out of me, I'll be honest.
There was this girl sitting there talking about, she hates when she has dry farts. And it just burns her butthole. So she uses bacon grease to lube everything up. Says it gets both cheeks just a flapping. It'll rattle the windows. And then occasionally she'll pour bubble solution down her butt crack and let one go. And she said the other day she blew a bubble that floated around in the room for about 5 minutes. She walked over with a lighter, lit it, and burned her eyebrows off.
Sounds like something you'd do.
Yeah.
Hey, I used to, Joe, you'll understand. I worked with grown men on a construction site.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like hearing, "Hey, y'all, watch this, look over," and see the fattest, hairiest guy you could ever think of. Pants up to his knees, laying on his back in the front seat with his feet on the doors, with his lighter, big lighter reached around, and we have to get the fire extinguisher to put his butt out.
I never knew you were on a job site up here in Indiana.
No.
Army. Okay.
Job sites are job sites. Believe me.
I mean, even in the broad daylight, there's a blue flame 3 feet out.
Now, the good news is we will have a clear warning sign when Joe Dog is preparing to do this in public. It'll be the first time we ever see him in a kilt.
Speaking of, I just bought one.
All right, so I'm gonna need alcohol for this episode. All righty,
You're gonna need a what?
Alcohol. And not the isopropyl kind either.
That's 99%. It's tempting.
No, not tempting enough. Sterno is not something you want to drink.
Yeah, well, hey, what better way to make my wife proud? Opening ceremonies will be my 38th wedding anniversary.
And if you do it right, it's going to be really lit.
I may have to ask Dawn for some of those gummies. Just a small handful.
So I was watching this video, and this guy has a big grill on a trailer. Okay. Not quite as big as Grillzilla, but his runs on propane too. So he's got
okay. I've seen the video you're talking about, I think.
Yeah. And the problem is that I think he's in Ohio, if I remember correctly, or
no, Oklahoma, I thought.
Is it Oklahoma? Okay.
It's an O state.
He went to get it. He went to get the trailer registered, get the tag for it and everything. And they would not give him a tag because technically what he had was considered to be a commercial cooking trailer because it's just the way the law is written.
Because of having the propane hookup.
Because of having the propane hooked up. So technically, if he takes the propane burner out of it and puts it in the back of the truck and doesn't have the propane tanks on the trailer, he's just hauling a grill. So he basically had to go home, pull all the stuff out of the grill, put it in the back of the truck, and drive down there again, let them inspect the trailer again. And they said, okay, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be $65.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And then he went back home, put everything back together.
Well, it says technically, he says he can drive it to where he wants it and then put everything back together. So, and then he's legal.
Yeah, so, it's some assembly required.
Yeah. And the only thing I could think of is Grillzilla. So that was
just
okay. You know how Grillzilla is long on the trailer?
Yeah.
His was right up near the front and was wide as the trailer, but about a little bit bigger round.
Yeah.
He had bigger barrel.
Transverse rather than longitudinal. I hope I used the right words there.
How you doing, Mr. Adam?
It was pretty thick. Like, it was pretty circular.
I think it had 2 levels in it.
Maybe more. It looked like it was almost a yard across, round.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, mine's
he had a heck of a time getting the lid open.
Yeah.
Well, that's his problem. I've already solved that problem. Big long handle and 2 hands in the ends. It's bench press.
Well, to be fair, his opened forward toward the front of the truck. So I imagine when he's driving down the freeway, it keeps the lid shut too. So it's
They hit a pothole and everything flies
was
out
that
all
the
over
one
the
made out of what looked like diamond plate steel?
No, it looked like Brinks or Charbroil. Looked like that kind of blackened steel.
Oh, okay.
But it was reinforced, so it may have been some sort of barrel he made it out of.
It looked like an oversized, almost looked like instead of a 55-gallon barrel,
100.
about 110. It was probably double the size.
Yeah. Now, have y'all ever noticed the burner on the grill side of Grillzilla?
The
I
Blackstone.
walked up to
Where
Grillzilla.
where the temperature gauges are? The one right in the middle? Charbroil commercial. Took me forever to get that thing heated up and been around that thing. So, that way when, people walk up and go, holy shit, that's...
Well, the problem is, Joe,
Yeah.
if it does say Charbroil commercial and somebody comes out and, checks your grill, they might want to see your business license for cooking.
Mhm.
Then you have to have chefs, and then you have to have the health department come out and check your grill and fun stuff like that.
Hey, well, the thing is, we don't open that thing up until late Friday.
No, we usually open up fairly early on Friday. It's
Yeah,
late
but-
Thursday we open it.
Yeah. Well, Friday, do you think inspectors are going to come out on a Friday?
Yeah.
If they want to be assholes about anything, yeah.
It's like those cops they make work on the weekend.
Somebody getting a ticket for something.
They tend to be really nasty about it. So, and it is Dalton. Of course, you're leaving Chattanooga and you're going to Dalton. So it's like, it's like leaving Nazi Germany and driving down to fascist Italy.
Yeah.
I should probably be a good husband and say hello to my wife in the chat.
Yes.
Hi, wife.
Yeah, Trey. Yeah, Trey, I had to completely change the subject when I saw you popping in. I didn't want Joe to get in too much trouble.
I saw something.
You fail to remember she works on the same job sites I do.
I saw something else cool today, and I'm going to bring it up here while I'm talking. There is a canal, and it is the world's oldest continuously operating canal. It's in Greece, and it's kind of interesting. There's this part of Greece that's only like 2.5 miles across, and it's right at the crossroads of the Peloponnese Peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
And dating back to just before, I want to say it's 600 BC, somewhere in that time frame, they built a railroad across this thing to move ships from one side of the Greece to the other and back and forth. Cut them off, what was it? About 350 miles of ocean journey for a sailing ship was
going around the peninsula.
Oh yeah, big time. And that was in continuous operation until sometime in the 1860s, 1880s time frame when they started building this canal. Let's see here, bring that up real quick. Now, Joe, if you'll bring that up for me, I'll show you. Okay. There, of course, is Greece and Italy and Turkey's over here and stuff like that. And down here is the Peloponnese. And you see, it's obviously they needed a canal there. I mean, it's just too perfect for a canal. So they go down here, and here's I can't read
600 BC, yeah. BC 80.
Trying to remember the actual.
Well, they did a pretty good job digging a straight line.
No, well, it's pretty. You throw a rock almost. It's not that darn big a canal, as you can see.
Yeah,
and you can see where they had to blast a lot of rock to get in here.
Looks like they got pull-offs for when ships can pass.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a natural occurrence because there's sand and everything at the bottom of it, but you can see where they blasted the rock down through here to make it. Now, this is the interest. I was looking at this, just kind of engineering fascination kind of thing, and I got all the way to this end because this is where the picture was taken for the picture of the boat going into the canal. And I got down here, and this is what caught my attention: the West Submersible Bridge of Corinth, which that's the name of the city here is Corinth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the Corinthians are from.
Yeah, exactly. And it's where they make Corinthian leather. Don't believe me? Ask Ricardo Montalban. And let's see here. Is that the one?
That does look submersible to me. The trouble is, it's got to submerge far enough for a ship to be able to pass over.
Exactly. But it has the advantage of you don't have to worry about the ship's sails, mast, rigging, radar towers, radio antennas, or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, I imagine the canal's only so deep, so they can only get so deep a boat through there.
Yeah,
There's a
they're
picture.
usually for the ones in England, they're usually about 5 foot, 6 foot deep. Now, depending on what kind of ships they go through there.
Well, there's one of the big ships going through there.
Ooh.
And
Yeah, I imagine it's probably got more than 6 feet below the water line.
I would say that's close to a 12-foot draft, actually.
And and they're going to make sure that bridge goes low enough so they don't have to pay to have it fixed.
Exactly.
The boat or the bridge, yeah.
Now, here's an ocean liner going through there, a small ocean liner. Of course, they got a lot of that around the Mediterranean.
That is awful tied up through there, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
Panama Canal's about as bad, maybe worse. See, here's another one.
You read it going down or coming up?
It's going down.
Yeah, I'd say that thing probably needs to go down at least 20, 25 feet for the ocean liners to be able to get through. And just like in the canals in England, the fishermen never get out of the way till the boat's right on them.
But I thought that was pretty darn neat. Yeah, it looks like it's a fairly deep canal. So you can see where it drops off right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see where it really drops in the center there.
Yeah. They could have taken a note from Hampton, Virginia, and just had a tunnel that went under the canal entirely.
You remember I was telling you about the railroad?
There ain't nothing left now, is there?
That's where it ran.
Yeah, that's a railroad bed, I can tell.
But they destroyed it to build the canal. Most of it got destroyed when they dug out the canal because it went over that same hill area. It must be nice to have money. Yeah.
Must be nice to have debt cord and dynamite.
Must be nice to have both.
What a cute little tugboat.
Yeah, it's probably a 40-footer.
Oh.
Okay. No. Oh wait. There's that road again.
All right.
So that's where the railroad used to be.
The other day, John.
Wink.
The other day, I sent a video to Joe and John. Have y'all ever seen one like this on a job site?
Well, to be fair, I did used to deal in armored vehicles and landmines. So yeah, I've just seen stuff like that before on job sites.
I worked for the state. I mean, not necessarily a contractor's vehicle looking like that, but pretty sure a few of our, yeah.
Dan, they get all the life out of that track hoe.
No kidding.
No kidding. It looks like they're about to lose something off the back of it.
That thing has been ridden hard and put away wet more times than
I'm willing to bet it got buried in a rock slide. Just the look of it.
Well, he can't keep the damn door closed for one thing. They don't have bungee cord technology in that place.
We had our National Guard unit used to have this road grader. It was a 1947 road grader. No hydraulics. Everything was gearboxes and rotating shafts. It never broke down the entire time during Desert Storm when all the other road graders with hydraulics were having problems. Because all you had to do was keep that gear oil topped off, and it would just keep going. And unfortunately, I was one of the guys driving the truck that had to retire it. So Hey, Don.
When I hired into the city in 1987, they had a 1946 GMC. Complete with 5-gallon bucket seats and Fred Flintstone brakes on the passenger side. And I think Joe's probably drove a truck like that a time or two.
Well, seeing as a lot of our plow trucks, you had to actually stuff rags into the floorboard so you didn't get soaked by all the spray from the snow coming up and underneath. Yeah. Or you have a truck like my wife's that the dashboard is held on by zip ties, and she's having to punch it to keep the dashboard lights on so she can see her gauges.
Is that the one she's driving now?
No.
Oh.
No, neither of us work at the state now, but no, when she plowed out Crown Point, she had one that she would just start punching at 3 a.m, yelling "shiny and chrome" as she's going down US Highway 30, trying to get her dashboard lights to come back on so she can, at bare minimum, see her speed.
Okay. This just in the news for those of y'all hadn't heard it.
I would diagnose that as a voltage regulator problem.
The aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman collided with a large merchant vessel Wednesday night in the vicinity of Port Said, Egypt, in the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah, I saw that.
They got all the room on the ocean, and they can't stay out of each other's damn way.
They were actually waiting to transit the Suez Canal.
So basically, this was a fender bender in the parking lot.
Apparently, and it was a Panamanian flagged cargo ship, and no injuries reported, nor was there flooding. Not on board the aircraft carrier. They haven't said what happened. The other ship was damaged, but not significantly, and is under its own propulsion. And there were no injuries on their crew as well.
Oh, Trey.
It was one of those crashes that you could see happening
Real
5 minutes away, and it's like, oh God,
this gonna hurt.
All the deck crew kind of looks up and goes, "They're getting kind of close." And they keep working. They're going, "Hey, they're really getting close." And they keep working, and they look up, and the people on the other ship are like, that's like.
Mm-hmm. My truck was smoking. The shop told me to call back when I had a real problem. Like what? When it goes up to 2 packs a day?
Pretty much. I had a truck one night. We were helping. They sent me and another guy over to help the Miller unit, and I pulled into their salt domes. Miller unit's inside the Gary sub, so they got the big fancy salt dome that you can pull inside of. You're out of the weather. It's nice. I pull in and I start loading the salt, and I'm like, I forgot to turn off my top rotators. Turned off everything else. Oh well. Fill up my salt. I climb back in. I look. All the switches are still on. I get back out. I look. I don't have any lights from behind anything behind the cab was dead, including brake lights. Pull around to the shop. Shop's all locked up. I'm pounding on the door. Nothing. Get back in the truck. I radio. I don't even remember what the hell my call sign was now at this point. Joe to Gary shop. Joe to Gary shop. Look down at the radio. I'm on Port Gary. Okay. Joe to anybody who happens to be on this channel near the Gary shop that's a mechanic. The ops foreman gets on. They're all out on road calls. What's up? I got no lights from the front from the cab of the truck back. Oh. Well, just make one more pass with so-and-so down 20 and, you should be good. Okay. So I take off. I pull back out and I tell the guy, I'm like, I said, don't plow the right lane. Just stay behind me. All we pretty much need to do is spread salt. And after about the third time he damn near rear ends me, I pull into the pilot. And he's like, what are you doing? I said, we're turning around and going back to the unit. Well, I thought the 20 turnaround was down by 5, or was it 520? Yeah. Down by 520. I'm like, it is. We're not going that far. Why not? Because you've almost hit me 3 times. I'm done. They want to write me up, they can write me up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll tell you a good one about our shop. I had a Ford single axle dump. Had the 452 gas burner in it. They said, and it sounded like this when you cranked it up. I said, hey guys, there's a rod knocking. They said, put oil in it and we'll fix it when it blows.
Sounds about right.
I stop by the shop every day and get 4 quarts of oil.
That sounds about right. There are certain plow trucks that you check the gas and filled the oil, filled the
Hydraulics.
The radiator.
Hydraulics, occasionally the radiator, and the power steering.
Yeah.
Which you also had to know not to use power steering fluid. Use transmission fluid.
Ooh, that don't sound too good.
Transmission fluid swells and seals up the seat better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, finally it locked up. To the point, they actually sent a mechanic out and says, sure it's not the starter? I said, it's dead. It's dead, Jim. Guy comes out with, like a 4-foot breaker bar, crawls under, puts it on the bolt. He's about Joe's size, lifts himself completely off the ground on the breaker bar and says, yep, it's locked up. So they rebuild the motor in it. It took them like 3 months to rebuild the motor in it. Mainly because Ford quit making parts for that engine years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they get it back, and they said, check the oil and everything and all that. Make sure, open the hood. You got to open the hood and look at a new motor. It had the old distributor cap on it. I'm going, too cheap? Put new plug wires, cap and plug wires on it? It'll be fine. It runs. Okay. So I take it out. Going through the gears. Boom. Boom. Every time you let off, it backfired.
They didn't time it right either, did they?
Oh, no. This is... I circled back around and I said, this thing's backfiring like hell. It's fine. Drive it. Okay. It backfired next to this one lady. I got called in on because she pissed her pants. They said, drive it. Okay. I said, you need to put a new cap and rotors on this thing before it blows heads off of it. It'll be fine.
We had a brine truck.
2 months into it,
Blew the motor again.
the left head came completely off. The passenger side head came completely off the engine.
Yeah, you still have the driver's side. You're fine.
Then they go, "What did you do?" Do I not have tickets listing what the problem was? And on every one of them, I said possible rotor cap, possible rotor cap, possible rotor, distributor cap, distributor cap, distributor cap, distributor cap. And they kept saying it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. So as they're pulling it apart, I had, one of the guys another mechanic come over and look at it. I said, take the lid off, the cap off that distributor. Holy fuck, it's broke.
Had a crack in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gee.
That's one reason I got rid of my dune buggy, because the rotor cap was right there on the motor, exposed, not under any kind of cover whatsoever. So anytime you went through a puddle of water or it rained real hard right after you drove the thing, it would split the cap in two, and you had to have a spare standing by, or go. Thankfully, it was a Ford part that fit on a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
I swore to myself, if I was going to keep this thing, I was going to put electronic ignition on it. And then I looked into it and I go, I don't know if that's within my abilities. How about if I just sell it to somebody?
Let it be somebody else's problem.
Somebody else's problem.
Hey, do you know that's why Chevrolet and GM rotor distributors are in the back of the motor instead of the front?
So they don't get splashed so much?
Yeah. But what were you saying, Joe, about the what?
So I got called out to plow one night, and they ended up not needing us to, be out there for the whole night, but we still had to get our hours. And the foreman comes up and he's like, "Hey, need you to go run over, have so-and-so take you over to Gary's sub. I need you to bring this truck back." He rattles off the number. I said, "It's one of our tankers. That's a brine truck." I said, "I don't have my tanker endorsement." He goes, "It's fine. It's empty."
What does that mean?
Whatever. So I go over to Gary's sub, walk in the shop. I'm like, "Hey, I'm here to pick up 6-4, whatever the hell the number was." And Tim, the one mechanic, he goes, "I don't know why the hell he wants it back so damn bad. It ain't ready yet." Okay, well, let me make a call. So I call up foreman. "Hey, shop says it ain't ready." He goes, "Don't care. Bruce says we have to have it back in service and out on the roads." Okay. So I go in and say, "Yeah," he says, "give me the keys." So they give me the keys. I do my walk around inspection. It's one of the old Sterlings. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, "Oh man, this thing's going to be just ratted out." Nicest damn Sterling in the fleet. Dashboard's all original still, not being held together by duct tape, hopes, prayers, and baling wire. AM/FM radio that actually worked. All the lights worked. I'm like, "Oh, this is kind of nice." So I take off. I'm driving down the road, and it had a slight pull to the left, and all of a sudden I hit a bump and it starts pulling to the right. So I adjust for that, and I hit another bump and starts pulling back left. I did 15 to 20 miles per hour down the interstate in the right lane for 10 miles to get back to our unit. I walked in, I tossed the keys on the foreman's desk. I looked at him and said, "I don't care if that is the last truck in our fleet and I ever have my actual tanker endorsement. I am not driving that fucking thing." "What's wrong with it?" I said, "Every time I hit a bump, it decided to change which way it wanted to pull." "Oh, it can't be that bad." "You go drive it. Let me know." So the next day, he sends out the guy who normally drove it. He comes back after about half an hour, throws the keys on his desk, and goes, "That needs to go back to the shop." He goes, "It starts off pulling one way, you hit a bump, it starts pulling the other way, you hit a bump, it goes back the opposite way." And it's like, you guys have got to be going insane. There's no way it's doing that. So he hopped in it. He started driving down the road, noticed it was pulling one way, hit a bump, it started pulling the other way. He drove it all the way back to the shop. Next time I got called in the plow, he pulls me aside. He goes, "I need to apologize." I said, "For what?" He goes, "I thought you were nuts." He goes, "And I sent cease out in that thing, and he came back saying the same thing as you did, so I drove it." He goes, "Yeah, we should have left that there." No shit.
When the mechanic says it ain't ready, don't try and take it home.
Well,
Well,
we have.
he was overruled by the, 2 levels ahead of him.
Well, our shop, they used to, when they knew a truck was bad and they would be pushed to fix it, they would pull the axles out of it.
Oh, it ain't going nowhere without those.
Yeah.
I mean,
And to
just look.
go along with that, Joe Dog, my wife's comment of her talking about toast during the green room tomorrow night,
Yeah.
that kind of fits along with that.
Mhm.
I mean,
Hey,
because they've been, our upper management would demand a truck go out unsafe.
Mhm.
And
that's normal.
we used to have what was called flush trucks. Of course, they're illegal now. I mean, they would go in and wash the road. And then, the water run down the storm drain. And
Yeah.
well, the passenger side, the flush trucks had, a sprayer up front, spray on the left, spray on the right. Well, the spray on the right wasn't working, which is when you're supposed to use washing road, the right side of the road. One of the guys went to pick it up and says, "The right side sprayer isn't working." He says, "Well, we gotta flush this street. Just drive on the wrong side of the road."
Can I have that in writing, please?
It was put on the radio. Old man about 90 comes around the corner, hits him head on, and it kills him. It kills the old man.
Yeah.
The police show up. "Why were you driving on the wrong side of the road?" "They told me to." He spent 2 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he was appealing it all the time. And then somebody said, one of the lawyers came around and says, "Hey, did anybody hear that?" And about 8 people says, "Yeah, I'll testify to it. I heard it." In the appeal, he got his job back, his back pay, and the supervisor that said it suddenly retired.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot better than suddenly became a bridge support.
Yeah, but after he got everything and all that and all the apologies, and I mean, it was a bunch of bullshit here when it happened.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh, yeah. He got all that he wanted from him, and he looked at him and says, "Well, you know what? When he got his back pay," I mean, it still took him almost 1.5 years to give him his back pay. Once he got his back pay, he looked at him and says, Well, told them goodbye with a finger as he walked out the door.
As one should.
Really?
And then sued the city again, and they wrote him another check.
That sounds like it's about time to retire when you're ahead and collect some extra pay.
But yeah, and you know, the city didn't even argue. City attorney says, write the check.
Had enough bad press out of this already, huh?
Yeah. There was 8 digits involved.
Whoo!
Yeah, that's pretty good retirement fund.
And right before that settlement came in, he moved out of state.
Might be moving to Montana soon.
But
Just
yeah,
raise me up a crop of dental floss.
Yeah, he moved out of state. And you know, somebody says, "Why are you moving out of state?" And he says, "They ain't getting it back on taxes."
Smart man.
Move to a state that don't have sales tax or income tax, state income tax.
Yeah. Well, he did move to a state without an income tax, and there is a beach.
Smart man. Don't buy too big of a boat. A boat's just a hole in the water that you throw money into. And I say that as a man that would actually like to have a boat, but I know
some
better.
of us like throwing money into a hole in the water.
Hey, Dan, you probably know the answer to this, but what's the 2 greatest days of a boat owner's life?
Oh, I know that one very, very well. Any guesses from anybody else?
The day he buys it and the day he gets divorced.
No, the day he sells it.
Oh.
Oh, you don't necessarily have to get divorced when you buy a boat. It just makes things a whole lot more peaceful.
John,
you know what they call a boat over in the canals in England?
What?
Boat stands for bring out another 1,000.
Yeah. John, were you awake watching Channel 3 when that snow hit us? And they were on snow watch.
You mean this last big snow we had?
Yeah.
I was probably picking it up on the computer. I wasn't watching TV, no.
Channel 3 has, their how they have the live cams around?
Oh, yeah.
They've got one at the boat dock in Scottsboro, Alabama. It was like 21 degrees outside. And these 2 guys roll in with their bass boats at 6 in the morning.
I like fishing, but I don't like fishing that much.
Exactly.
I'd have to have one of those heated motorcycle suits that you plug into a battery port somewhere on the boat.
No, John, what you do is you go to a motel and just pretend you went fishing.
Well, what was funny is they were sort of sitting there waiting a little bit. And what they were waiting on is another guy to show up to go with them. And, they said, if you know who these 2 are, call them and tell them that they're the bravest fishermen they've ever seen.
Of course, the best time to go fishing.
Somebody must have called them because one of the trucks drove over by the camera and waved. I'm going.
Well, it's not hard to spot one of those satellite trucks. So,
No, it isn't satellite. It's all the time.
It's a parking lot camera.
Oh,
Cam.
it's kind of funny. I can remember when all these local news agencies started buying these huge satellite trucks for doing, live broadcast out away from the TV station. And they had the satellite dish on top, and some of them had the big microwave transmitter thing on the tower that would come out. And now you can do all that with your cell phone.
Yeah. Well, that's what Lewis used to do with the news stations. That was his job, was the satellite trap.
I need to ask Jennifer. I can't remember when she was with TV3, I can't remember if she ever got stuck up at Monteagle Mountain in bad weather.
Now, I do remember the time when David Carroll was doing the morning news, and they sent Jed Mescon out to Monteagle. And I'm surprised the snow actually stayed on the ground with Jed there, because he just lights up the whole area. It didn't snow. And Jed flopped down in the middle of the dry parking lot, and he goes, "This is how you do my snow angels." Knocked everything over off to the camera. But yeah, he was laying flat on his back, making snow angels on an asphalt drop parking lot.
It's a good way to ruin a shirt.
It's
I don't even know if I'm going to sell my boat. Kiri, if you can find somebody dumb enough to row it for you, just keep the boat.
Oh, I told you about, driving through the neighborhood, and there was this weird looking boat. And come to find out, it is an ocean going rowing boat.
Okay, I know I had Vikings as some of my ancestors, but I ain't getting in that thing.
It's not uncommon to see those, whaleboat type things. So used to be quite common. Now everything's motorized. Because nobody wants to row a boat on the ocean.
Unless you're smart. And you can't even have a long enough barge pole to do any good. Oh, Lord.
I just want to be the guy on the drum.
I bet you do. No fair playing the drum solo from Inagata-Davida, trying to get them to keep up with you.
Water skiing. Boom, 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 boom.
But yeah, come to find out, these are okay, here's a good picture. Let me download this real quick so I can just do it this way. Shoot. All right. Present, share screen, image. Threw me back to here.
Okay, it's got the solar panel for whatever little navigation and
And
looks like it's got a top hatch hidden in there somewhere.
Yeah, the front and the back is sleeping quarters, and it's a team of 4. Every 2 hours they swap out. 2 of their own go in, lay down, rest their arms, and take a nap.
I bet they sleep well.
You got no choice.
Yeah, what else is there to do?
Yeah, but they were getting ready for the Pacific Challenge. They're rowing from San Diego to Honolulu.
Not even with $1 million sponsorship would I try that.
Yeah, no.
I think Eddie's fishing ski was too small for that shit.
There was this submarine in World War II. I think it was World War II. It's either before World War II or during. And they went out and they were looking for an airplane. It's a search and rescue mission. And so they went, and because it was kind of an emergency, they left port before all their repairs were done. And so they're out there, and they knew they had problems with the electrical system, but since they were going to be on the surface, they could run on a diesel engine, so no problem. So they get out there in this area and they start looking for this plane. And the entire electrical system craps out. And it turns out their fuel had too much seawater in it. So the diesels quit. Apparently, they didn't know they had a crack in one of their fuel tanks. It wasn't letting fuel out where you could see it on the water. It was letting seawater in because they hadn't fully fueled yet. So they wound up, they're dead in the water. They have no electrical, no communications, and they're hard to see because they're a submarine. And they're doing whatever they can, shooting flares, making smoke signals, whatever, trying to get attention of the other ships that are out here looking. But to give you an idea of how few ships there are actually there looking, they sent out a broken submarine looking for it. Okay. So finally, one of the sailors on board, who happens to be an actual sailor, knows how to, do a sailboat and stuff like that. They rigged a sail on the submarine, got the submarine up to almost 4 knots with the sail, and sailed it back to Honolulu.
Somebody's real good at navigation.
Well, navigation's easy.
That's when you engage the transmission and let just a little slow turn of the generator.
They did actually try fabricating oars, but it just didn't work. It didn't work as well as the sail did. So
no, let the prop turn the generator, charge the batteries.
I don't know if that'll work on a submarine.
It worked on a German one during World War II. We captured it and towed it back to the U.S., captured an Enigma machine on it.
Is that the one that sits in Chicago?
That's the one that sits in Chicago, yes, indeed. And they figured a way to disconnect it from the transmission of the engine, but still have it turning the alternator or the magneto, whichever system it had.
They have both. They have diesels. Well, most submarines back in those days were diesel electric. So you ran it on diesel engines on the surface, but when you submerged,
it was all electric.
Battery powered engine. And the diesel engine also had the generator that recharged your batteries.
So basically, as they were being towed by a battleship, the propeller was just free spinning and generating enough electricity for the bilge pumps to start putting the water back out where it belonged and keep the submarine from sinking. Bad Electrician has a good video on this. He's a great storyteller. I recommend his channel to anybody.
Oh, and Don says there's ice fishing, and then there's ice fishing, and that's not ice fishing. Of course not. The Tennessee River never freezes.
Not anymore. It has.
It has, yeah.
Because there are pictures of people driving Model T Fords across the Tennessee River.
From Coolidge Park to Ross's Landing.
That's somebody braver than I am.
No, it was that cold.
I don't care. I don't care how cold it is. It's still braver than I am.
We didn't have dams back then, so we didn't have reservoirs. So occasionally the river would slow down enough where it could freeze pretty easy.
Well,
and a Model T Ford didn't weigh that much. So.
Of course,
I've seen pictures of Niagara Falls freezing solid.
I've seen that.
Did y'all see the video of how you go ice fishing in the South? This guy, has, his top bait and he throws it out there. I mean, it looks like, regular water. I mean, it the pond froze with ripples. So you can see the ripples and it looked like, water. He threw it out there and he says, yeah. He goes, I like using the top bait. He casts out there and he reels it in and you can see it bouncing across the ice on the top. He said, but when you got a little ice, it takes a big one to break through the ice. So, you occasionally, you got to, fish with a red worm. But when it's froze over down here in the South, we do it the easy way. Boom! 12 gauge. Blow the hole that big in the water and it drops it in.
There you go. Saves all that tedious work with a saw.
Yeah. Literally, I busted out. Donna heard me laugh and she came in to see what I was laughing at. I said, she goes, what's so funny about that? And I said, only in the South. Even Joe's bunch wouldn't even think of that, would you?
Probably not.
Well, the ice might be a little bit too thick for a 12 gauge. You might need an 8 gauge up there.
And a slug instead of birdshot.
Russell Crowe, there's this great picture. He's got a bunch of kids, for those of you who don't know. They went to Rome. And of course, Russell Crowe played the gladiator in the Gladiator movie. It shows him and all of his kids sitting out in front of the Colosseum. And he goes, taking the kids to see my old office. And somebody, how they always put the top post on whenever somebody posts something like that, they'll have the top post of who posted what. Somebody posted underneath it, were they entertained?
Nice.
Oh.
See, that's what
where is this?
Here it is. Oceans Elite Atlantic. Or Oceans Elite is the group. Yeah. One of these guys live in my neighborhood. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this.
They've got custody of the boat in your neighborhood. It ain't going to rain enough.
I'm posting this into the comments here. If anybody watching, hold on, Carl, hold on. Go like and follow this page. Because these guys do a cool job, and one of them is my neighbor. Hey, got to help your neighbors.
Oh yeah, definitely. Mine went out and cut down a bunch of trees after the previous ice storm, and I was tempted to go help him remove the firewood from his lawn, but somebody else beat me to it.
Oh. I finally got this code to work.
Hey, red letter day.
Oh, did you see the doorstop I need you to get me the file for, Joe?
I watched the video. I don't even know where that would be at. Was it listed somewhere?
No, I can't. I've been looking for it. It's Kenny from South Park as a doorstop.
That ought to work.
And the back of it's got the the bodily red liquid.
Oh my God! You killed Kenny.
I'd make a big one just for the dealer's room. What, Dan?
No, I was just thinking one of my grandmothers used to have this uh, huge pumice stone about almost the size of a footstool that she would use as a doorstop in the summertime, keep the main door open and the storm door with the screen up for a breeze to come through. And I'm just going, where the fuck did she find volcanic pumice? Did they go to Hawaii and nobody ever tell me that story? Uh, or one of my relatives went, or uh, one of the relatives that was in the Navy during World War II brought some back, or what? I don't know.
Now I may get the doorstop from my dad. He told me I could have it, but I have to put it in the truck for the car. I'm gonna have my son do it. It's only this big, got a handle on it.
But it's an anvil.
It could be used as an anvil. It's a commercial scale test weight for 50 pounds.
Back in the day, I got a piece of I-beam from work about 6 feet long. And somehow or another, I managed to wrestle that in the back of my pickup truck and then drug it back to next to one of my storage sheds. It's still sitting there, and I'm going, it'll make one hell of an anvil one of these days. And then I go, ooh, that means I'd have to build a fire pit to get anything hot to be able to hammer it out on that thing as an anvil. Let me put that one on the back burner, so to speak.
Let the next guy that moves in deal with it.
I've got a feeling the next guy will just take it down and sell it for scrap. I mean, it's about 120 pounds worth of I-beam.
And I found out you can only haul something in so long. They won't take anything over a certain length.
That keeps you from stealing railroad ties, don't it?
Railroad iron, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they won't even
that's
take.
what I meant.
Yeah, they won't take railroad iron anymore at all.
All right, Joe Dog.
Yeah.
The Kenny doorstop used to be on Thingiverse.
Yeah.
I found one that's a remix of the original, and he actually linked to it on Thingiverse, and it's just no longer there.
Paramount probably had them pull it.
But I did find this. I'll throw this up in the private chat for you.
Printables. I'm okay with it. Well, that's close to the one.
Yeah.
Is it a free download?
Probably it's on printables. Yeah, it looks like it. And it has commercial use.
Oh, let me get to my 3D file, 3D printer. Let's see. Okay. It's opening up. Yeah, it took all of. I didn't even get the finger off the button before it was downloaded.
All All right, I did my good deed for the night.
Well, thank you. Let me throw the slicer on it.
Which just goes to go after you got the code fixed that you were working on. No good deed goes unpunished.
Right?
This is true.
That's not bad. 3 hours and 5 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Not compared to what I'm going to be trying to print tomorrow if this thing decides to play nice. I think either my nozzle's finally wearing out or it might have a slight clog, but I don't have any little pieces to try and run through it to...
Well, it's a good thing you got those backup nozzles.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, once they arrive from China.
If they arrive from China. Bump your setting to ABS and purge that way.
I'll have to see if Orca has a purge built into it, because...
I mean, run your printer to ABS.
Okay.
And, up to ABS temperatures, and just keep hitting load.
Oh my!
What's ABS temperatures generally?
240.
Okay, because I was gonna say when I do a load on it, it does 230. So,
as much as I like that tea set that I got for Lindsay, Jesse's Tea House is really expensive on the teas themselves.
yeah, but it's a lot of tea. Like if you're getting the bricks of teas, the loose leaves, it's a decent amount of tea that they're sending.
Yeah, but I can go to Harney and Sons and get the same amount for about 10%.
Yeah.
Now, they won't be the exact same teas, but since she's British, it'll be the teas that she actually enjoys.
Yeah. Yeah, because these are more Chinese-based teas than...
Exactly. Now, there's one or two that do interest me, and I wouldn't mind getting like a little testing sample to see whether or not they're actually as good as they look.
Yeah.
But she's already got stuff from Harney and Sons, and I know that's her preferred brand right there.
Has she tried the tea set yet?
She has not. She has just figured out how to display it without us having a china cabinet to put it in. And she is so worried that one of the cats is going to jump up on the bar and start knocking stuff off. So
that can't be tacos that night for dinner.
There wouldn't be enough left to make a taco out of. That'd be a pair of gloves right there. That's about it. And dog food for about a day and a half.
Yeah. When she does use it, she'll love that tea set.
Oh, she already loves it. She already loves it. It's just she gets all these beautiful things, and she doesn't want to use them because she's afraid she'll mess them up somehow. And I'm going, honey, I didn't get this to be a wall hanger. It's not like I bought myself another damn useless sword.
And for those wondering what tea set we're talking about, it is this one.
And it is absolutely beautiful. You pulling that up, Joe?
Oh, I'm working on something. Hold on a minute.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
Okay.
This would be it here.
Pretty. That's pretty.
It is indeed.
And the top actually holds your leaves and will rotate as you pour, so that all you get is the tea.
there's a filter built into the bottom of the part that rotates.
Oh, that's cool.
It is.
Now,
It's
is that a British thing or is that
It's Chinese.
Chinese? Okay.
Yep.
There you go. You can see the filter there.
Yeah. Joe, I just upsized it by 50%,
Mm-hmm.
and it went from 3 hours and almost 4 hours to 6 hours and 33 minutes.
It's not bad.
And it's saved, so next time I fire up the printer, I'll print it. I
think
guess
that's come down in price since I ordered it for Trey.
Damn it.
Hey, there's been a bunch of people ordering it, so yeah, the little carrying case is wonderful too.
Yeah.
I have been tempted to get her another tea pet or two,
Mm-hmm.
but
Shit.
I'm seeing as how she's British, she's not going to do it the right way. It's not going to be ceremonial. It's just she gonna make something she can drink.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to, with those, you're supposed to pour out the first one or two brews anyway.
Like I said, she's British. That ain't happening.
Yeah. Well, it's because us Americans did that, did enough of that for them in Boston, a couple hundred years ago. But
yeah, we poured out enough tea already. We can drink the rest of it.
This is actually, I got this for the wife. It's actually a very nice electric kettle.
Yes, those are excellent. We've got one that is plastic that we take to conventions, and then I think the one that my wife has that she uses every day is the Hamilton Beach, and it is excellent.
That is the other nice thing I like about when you get the teas from him.
Yeah,
it actually comes with a little card that will tell you what temperature your water should be for best brewing.
Now her tea kettle, her electric kettle, it has different buttons for black tea, oolong, green tea. It's different temperatures.
Oh, okay.
Already set in there, and it says what the temperatures are as well as the more familiar teas.
What is oolong?
It's a black tea, I do believe, and it tastes wonderful, especially if you you can put sugar or cream into it if you're British. But
I was going to say he was a talking pig that kept molesting Bulma.
No, the reason I asked is we bought, the Keurig.
Yeah.
It's Cozy Up Keurig teapods, and there's some oolong in it, and I didn't really know what that was.
It's a very, very nice tea.
And it's got a peppermint tea.
Yeah, that's a good one as well, especially if you need to unclog your sinuses.
Well, peppermint tea and honey is just wonderful.
So I have a funny story about peppermint tea. I came home, this was back, we were living in South Haven, Indiana at the time. And I get home from work one night, it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I come walking in, my mom and my wife are both home. Man, y'all cook chicken tonight? No. Why the hell does it smell like poultry seasoning in here? Trey goes, well, I made some mint tea. I walk over, I grab the thing, I sniff it. Smelled exactly like poultry seasoning. So now my running joke with her every time I go to cook chicken breasts is, hey, pass me the mint tea so I can spice this up a little bit. And as far as oolong goes, according to Jesse's Tea House website, oolong teas are partially oxidized teas, somewhere between green tea and a black tea, depending on type. Some of these teas are light, smooth, and sweet, and some are dark, roasty, and nutty.
Dark roast and nutty. That's pretty much this group.
Especially in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Joe,
Yes, sir.
they got a picture of the doorstop. This is one print. Multicolorment in the
Fancy.
You gotta change your filament, what, 4 times?
No.
Oh, it's going to be more than that.
No, that changes the filament. While it's printing. You got to have a filament changer as it prints.
Okay.
That's one of them computer tricks.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, a lot of the bamboo files are set up for multicolor. Because a lot of their machines, you can order the multicolor attachment for it.
Mm.
And it'll just go through. There's one girl I follow on Kick. She streams 3D printing. She's got one of the Bamboo Lab printers. And you'll see it go through, and it's, just going through, printing colors. Have a good night, Dawn. And it'll go to change color, and you'll see it go back to the back corner, and it'll extrude out what was left of that other color, and then you'll see the next color start to come through. It'll go back over. Because she's normally doing anywhere from like 4 to 12 things on the plate, depending on size. And you'll see it go through. It'll print that color on everything, go back over, drain out what's left of that one. The next one will start coming out.
That's just too fancy.
Too fancy? My first experience with even knowing anything about 3D printing was watching somebody build a house with concrete, and it's 3D printed in layers.
Yep.
And I'm going, oh, this would be so cool.
Oh, they've got it now to where it prints out candy.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the ones that are basically wood fibers and whatnot.
Yeah, that's.
Don't
use the wood fiber filament.
It clogs up the nozzle too much.
Quick.
From what I've seen online, if you're using the wood fiber or the carbon fiber filaments, you have to use the hardened steel nozzles.
And you have to use a bigger nozzle size too, right?
It didn't say anything about bigger nozzle size. It just said hardened steel is recommended.
Well, yeah, less wear and tear.
Well, the nozzles are brass. Can you imagine a abrasive filament running through it?
Mm-hmm.
They'd be larger.
Yeah.
Quickly.
I actually ordered, because I couldn't find. There's a little silicon pad that's on my printer that every time before it prints, it'll run the nozzle across there to kind of clean it. And I had to replace the one that was on there, so I had ordered replacement pads. Could not find the damn box. So went back to Artillery's website and figured, okay, I gotta order these pads again. I might as well get some new nozzles, so I ordered some brass and some hardened steel. And I placed the order, and later that day, Trey finds the box. Yeah.
This is the way.
But I think Artillery only had the hardened steel in the 0.4 millimeter. don't think they had it in any other size. It is what it is. Now their brass ones, they had one kit that was like 8 brass nozzles of 0.4 millimeter, and then they had another kit that was all varying sizes.
Oh, Joe, one thing I found out, best time changing nozzles when the head is hot.
Yeah, that's what it said in the instructions.
And a deep well socket's the best thing to do. And by the time you get that nozzle out, that socket is too hot to touch.
I won't ask you how you figured this out. I do believe it's fairly obvious to the rest of us.
Well, the thing is, you got to pull it. You got to get it out of the socket to put the new nozzle back in.
Mm-hmm.
Note to self: Christmas present for Joe Dog. Blue Mule gloves.
Yeah. This was the kit that I ordered for the brass nozzles. So it actually comes with everything. I'm just not sure what that little
That's a nozzle cleaner.
Yeah, that's a plunger to push out. Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
No, that's just an arrow on the screen there. Well, hell, I've still got that. I didn't realize that's what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to do it while the nozzle is flaming hot.
Yeah.
And it's only good for one good run.
Well, if this print fails again tomorrow, I might try and run that through it then. Because
hello, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Because I had planned on starting Nick's BSR trophy today.
Uh-oh, Dan forgot something tomorrow, didn't you?
Nope. I was looking at the runtime for the show.
We started a minute early, so. But you still got to get your shit together, Dan.
That'll be the frickin' day.
This coming from Joe.
Oh.
Did I say that out loud? I thought I was on mute.
Now,
both almost owed me a new wood burner because I almost spit that water across it.
Do what, Dan or me?
Dan.
Well, I do like the start stream, end stream now. I hope we don't lose that because I really like to boom one, hit end stream, then hit end stream again. Video starts, it plays, it shuts it off, we're done.
Yeah.
And it automatically pulls everybody down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have not played around with it to know how to schedule something inside one of the permanent studios.
You enter the studio. You enter studio, and then up in the upper corner where everything is, create stream.
Oh, okay. So it's the same thing, only you've got to enter the
studio instead of
the permanent studio first. Okay, I'll try that next time I have to do that.
I mean, the reason I went to the permanent studio is it just makes it so much easier on my end. I don't have to.
Are you still having to delete out the previous video?
No.
From that studio? No.
Nope. Once we fill out our allotted broadcast time, StreamYard starts deleting stuff for us.
Yeah.
Well, no. When I first started messing with the permanent studios, before it would let me go in to schedule my next show, I had to tell it to delete from delete that video from that studio. So like when I did my Monday night behind the code, if I wanted to get it set up for Wednesday's Burning is Love, I had to go in, tell it to remove that video so that I could reuse that studio again. So they must have finally fixed that.
Joe would know better than I because the first time I do it will be the first time I do it.
Yeah, it was one of those. I just went in and said create studio, and I went, oh shit, I'm supposed to delete. Well, hell, fuck. It worked.
Yeah, they must have changed it then, because like I said, last time I did it, when I'd go into the studio again to try and schedule the next one, it kept trying to set it for a pre-recorded. I'm like, well, no, this was live. I'm not gonna redo the same damn show.
Yeah, exactly.
But I should probably get the other studio pulled up so I can be ready for when Dan's show launches.
I'm already in there. I'm not on screen, but I'm in there.
There we go.
Yep, I heard you ping in. And knowing that Dawn and Donna are already in bed, I assumed that it was you that pinged in without looking.
Yeah, it was me.
All right, we got to say bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Folks.
All right, y'all have a good one. Well, you'll see y'all Saturday night. Be good, behave, and
if you can't be good,
be gone.
Good at it.
And to one certain person in Atlanta, Georgia, I wish you would just.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.